Oh, I think she's done exactly the right thing. I think, again, based on my experience and on the Watergate experience, if they can find something which leads the American people to favor impeachment, and this is where I think we got out of sync. We had a report from Ken Starr that said that Clinton was guilty on 11 counts. Now, if Mueller had reported that Trump was guilty, you'd be in a different world. But even in our case, with a solid report, guilty on 11 counts, the country ultimately listened to the argument and said no, and the Senate refused to convict. Well, you have a Republican Senate. The odds against conviction are overwhelming, and I think Speaker Pelosi's trying to say to her House Democrats, you know, you want to maximize the political advantage. You don't want to go into an ambush where we look hyper-partisan, and I'm not totally sure they could pass impeachment because Democrats elected in Trump districts may say, you know, I'm not quite there right now.
President Trump has tweeted about the Mueller report since its release, I think about 80 times, including what our own legal analyst Jonathan Turley said was one instance where he essentially contradicted what Don Gahn, his White House counsel, told Mueller, which said that could actually put the president in jeopardy. Does the president need to stop talking about this and tweeting about it?
Probably not for a while. I mean, Trump's entire career, starting here in New York, is to counterpunch. I mean, he lived on, you know, page 6, the gossip columns, and he learned you hit back, and you hit back harder than they hit. You hit back longer than they can hit. And it's just, it's who he is. And so I think he gets up in the morning and something triggers the fact that, oh, yeah, I really am mad about this. And so he hits. And
does it matter that he hits back with lies? I mean, the Washington Post today, and Glenn Kessler, who's kept track of this, now the president has surpassed 10,000 false or misleading claims since becoming president.
Well, I find it hard to take anything the Washington Post writes seriously.
Come on.
No, I do. They hate Trump. They hate Trump every day. Their coverage is stunningly biased.
You believe
but even Senator Mitt Romney, who is a Republican,
yes, who also dislikes Trump.
He's a Republican.
You can dislike someone and still say that they're making false.
Mitt Romney said he was sickened at the extent and pervasiveness of dishonesty and misdirection by individuals in the highest office, including the president.
Yeah, and I was a little saddened that Mitt couldn't bring himself to say he was sickened by the Justice Department basically having a coup d'etat. He was sickened by the Obama administration trying to go after an American political candidate. There are a lot of things to be sickened about in Washington, D.C., and it was sad that Mitt could only find a Republican to be sickened by.
What can you challenge about Mitt Romney's character?
I'm not trying to challenge his character. I'm challenging his judgment.
When you say that you don't trust the Washington Post, but 10,000, as they used to say about 10,000 Elvis fans can't be wrong. 10,000 enumerations is not zero.
Look, no, but it's more than fair. I mean, again, people who don't like Trump can't get over this, all right? Trump is a businessman. He's not a politician. He's not trained by the ways of Washington. He has a tendency to fling things around. And I wouldn't get up and say, I'm going to verify every single thing he said. That's not who he is. But on big things, he has been stunningly effective.
Has he been stunning? Your book is about Russia and the real threat of Russia, long-standing threat. That's a big thing. Has he rhetorically been, in terms of educating a country, partially what your book is trying to do, has he been on the beam as far as you're concerned with respect to the threat?
I think he's moved to tougher and tougher sanctions. I mean, the irony is, after all the attacks on Trump, Trump has been much tougher than Obama was. The sanctions are much tougher. And he continues to increase that, including on the Russian role in Venezuela.
Why make Russia the villain in your book?
Because I think it's important to say to the American people that Russian penetration of American society, I have a book coming out in October on China, the Russian penetration of American society is real. And, you know, we had the highest ranking person in the FBI who's supposed to catch spies, in fact, was a Russian spy. And I think people need to understand this. While Mueller said there's nothing with the Trump campaign, don't relax and think that means there's nothing going on.
Jared Kushner said the Russian influence was really just a couple of Facebook ads.
Oh, I think the Russian effort to influence our elections was basically not very effective or aggressive. But that's not what the Russians really work on. The Russians work on placing agents of influence like Alger Hiss and putting them in positions where they can have huge impact. And as I said, if you have a 15 or 20-year period where the top FBI agent is a Russian spy, the amount of damage they can do is unbelievable. And he clearly, for example, turned over to the Russians a series of American spies who were executed.